Installing an electrical panel cabinet partially in a crawl space raises several concerns related to code compliance, environmental conditions, accessibility, clearance requirements, and protection from physical damage. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, doesn't explicitly address partial installations within crawl spaces. It mandates secure and proper support for all electrical equipment. A partial installation could compromise the panel's stability and overall safety. Crawl spaces often present harsh environments with dampness, humidity, and potential contaminants. These conditions can deteriorate electrical equipment over time. Therefore, the panel cabinet and its internal components must be designed to withstand such conditions. Accessibility for inspection, maintenance, and repairs is crucial. A partial installation might hinder access to the panel's interior, complicating essential work. NEC Article 110.26 stipulates a minimum of 36 inches of working clearance in front of electrical panels. A partial installation may not meet this clearance requirement, posing hazards during operation or servicing. The overhang of the cabinet storage space might not offer sufficient protection against physical damage. Items stored nearby could potentially fall or bump into the panel. To address these concerns, consider fully installing the panel cabinet within the designated cabinet storage space. This would provide the necessary support, accessibility, and protection. If full installation isn't feasible, securely mount the panel cabinet on a stable support within the crawl space, ensuring adequate clearance and protection. Use a panel cabinet and components specifically rated for damp and humid environments. Ensure easy access to the panel cabinet for inspection, maintenance, and repairs. This could involve creating a separate access hatch or modifying the existing cabinet storage space. The ampacity of conductors shall be determined by NEC Table 310.16, and the appropriate terminals for the conductor size and temperature rating must be used. Overcurrent protection should be provided in accordance with NEC Article 240, and the panel must be properly grounded and bonded as per NEC Article 250. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety and to prevent electrical shock hazards. The working space around electrical equipment should comply with NEC 110.26. This section details the requirements for clear access and working room around electrical equipment to ensure safety during maintenance and operation. The depth of the working space depends on the voltage to ground and the condition of the area opposite the electrical equipment. The width of the working space should be at least 30 inches or the width of the equipment, whichever is greater. The height of the working space should be at least 6 feet 6 inches or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. Crawl spaces often have limited height, which can make it difficult to meet these requirements. Proper lighting should be provided in the working space around electrical equipment as required by NEC 110.26d. Adequate lighting is essential for safety when working on electrical equipment. Damp or wet locations require specific types of equipment. NEC Article 100 defines these locations and specifies the types of enclosures and equipment required. Equipment installed in damp locations must be identified for use in such locations. This typically means that the equipment must be listed and labeled for damp locations by a recognized testing laboratory. Corrosion is a significant concern in crawl spaces due to moisture and humidity. Using corrosion-resistant materials and coatings can help protect electrical equipment from corrosion. Regularly inspecting the equipment for signs of corrosion and addressing any issues promptly is important. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner, according to NEC 110.12. This means that the installation should be visually appealing and should not create any safety hazards. Conductors should be properly supported and secured, and all connections should be made in an approved manner. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be properly labeled and identified, as stated in NEC 110.21. This includes labeling circuit breakers, switches, and other devices to indicate their function. Proper labeling helps to prevent confusion and ensures that the correct circuit is de-energized when performing maintenance or repairs. If the crawl space is subject to flooding, additional precautions may be necessary to protect the electrical equipment. This may include installing the equipment above the flood level or using submersible equipment that is designed to operate when submerged in water. The NEC requires that all electrical work be performed by qualified individuals who are trained and experienced in electrical installations. Homeowners should not attempt to perform electrical work themselves unless they have the necessary qualifications and experience. Hiring a licensed electrician ensures that the work is done safely and in accordance with the NEC. When making electrical connections, it is important to use the proper connectors and techniques. Improper connections can cause overheating, arcing, and other hazards. All connections should be tight and secure, and the conductors should be properly insulated. The NEC requires that all unused openings in electrical boxes and enclosures be closed, as indicated in NEC 110.12a. This helps to prevent the entry of moisture, dust, and other contaminants that could damage the equipment. It also helps to prevent accidental contact with energized parts. When running conductors through walls or floors, it is important to protect them from physical damage. This can be done by using conduit or other approved methods. The NEC requires that conductors be protected from abrasion and other types of physical damage, as noted in NEC 300.4. When installing electrical equipment in a crawl space, it is important to consider the presence of pests such as rodents and insects. These pests can damage electrical wiring and equipment, creating safety hazards. Using pest-resistant materials and sealing any openings that could allow pests to enter the crawl space can help to prevent these problems. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be properly maintained, as indicated in NEC 110.3b. This includes regularly inspecting the equipment for signs of damage, corrosion, or other problems. Any issues should be addressed promptly to prevent further damage or safety hazards. When working on electrical equipment, it is important to always energize the circuit before starting any work. This can be done by turning off the circuit breaker or removing the fuse that supplies power to the circuit. It is also important to verify that the circuit is de-energized using a voltage tester before touching any wires or components. The NEC requires that all electrical installations be inspected by a qualified electrical inspector before they are put into service. This helps to ensure that the installation is safe and complies with the NEC. Homeowners should contact their local building department to schedule an inspection after any electrical work is completed. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are required in certain locations to protect against electric shock hazards. The NEC specifies the locations where GFCIs are required, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. Installing GFCIs in these locations can significantly reduce the risk of electric shock. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or AFCIs, are designed to protect against fires caused by electrical arcs. The NEC requires AFCIs in certain circuits, such as those that supply bedrooms. AFCIs can detect dangerous arc faults and trip the circuit breaker to prevent a fire. Surge protective devices, or SPDs, are used to protect electrical equipment from voltage surges caused by lightning or other sources. The NEC recommends the use of SPD in certain applications to protect sensitive electronic equipment. SPD can help to prevent damage to computers, televisions, and other electronic devices. When working with electrical equipment, it is important to wear appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE. This may include safety glasses, gloves, and insulated shoes. PPE can help to protect against electric shock, burns, and other injuries. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be approved for the specific application in which it is being used. This means that the equipment must be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, or UL. Using approved equipment helps to ensure that it is safe and reliable. When selecting electrical equipment, it is important to consider the voltage and current requirements of the circuit. The equipment must be rated for the voltage and current that it will be subjected to. Using equipment that is not properly rated can create safety hazards. The NEC requires that all electrical boxes be properly sized for the number of conductors that they contain. Overfilling an electrical box can create overheating and other problems. The NEC provides guidelines for determining the proper size of electrical boxes. When running conductors and conduit, it is important to follow the NEC guidelines for conduit fill. Overfilling a conduit can make it difficult to pull the conductors and can also cause overheating. The NEC specifies the maximum number of conductors that can be installed in a given size of conduit. When making splices in conductors, it is important to use approved splicing methods. Improper splices can cause overheating and other problems. The NEC provides guidelines for making safe and reliable splices. When terminating conductors at electrical equipment, it is important to use the proper terminals and connectors. Improper terminations can cause overheating and other problems. The NEC provides guidelines for making safe and reliable terminations. When installing electrical equipment outdoors, it is important to protect it from the weather. This may involve using weatherproof enclosures, conduit fittings, and other protective measures. The NEC provides guidelines for protecting electrical equipment from the weather. When installing electrical equipment near water, it is important to take extra precautions to prevent electric shock hazards. This may involve using ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, and other safety devices. The NEC provides guidelines for installing electrical equipment near water. When installing electrical equipment in hazardous locations, such as areas where flammable gases or vapors are present, it is important to use equipment that is specifically designed for those locations. This equipment is designed to prevent explosions and other hazards. The NEC provides guidelines for installing electrical equipment in hazardous locations. When installing electrical equipment in healthcare facilities, it is important to follow the specific requirements of the NEC for those facilities. These requirements are designed to protect patients and staff from electrical hazards. The NEC provides guidelines for installing electrical equipment in healthcare facilities. When installing electrical equipment in educational facilities, it is important to follow the specific requirements of the NEC for those facilities. These requirements are designed to protect students and staff from electrical hazards. The NEC provides guidelines for installing electrical equipment in educational facilities. When installing electrical equipment in industrial facilities, it is important to follow the specific requirements of the NEC for those facilities. These requirements are designed to protect workers from electrical hazards. The NEC provides guidelines for installing electrical equipment in industrial facilities. In summary, proper installation of an electrical panel in a crawl space involves considering environmental factors, accessibility, and code compliance. Secure mounting, moisture-resistant equipment, and adequate working space are critical for safety and functionality. Always consult the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and engage a qualified electrician for safe and compliant electrical work. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the work is done safely and in accordance with the NEC. Neglecting these considerations can lead to potential hazards such as electrical shocks, fires, and equipment failure. Therefore, it is essential to prioritize safety and compliance when installing electrical equipment in any environment, especially in challenging locations like crawl spaces.